Thank you for the invitation yesterday. So my name is Juan Martin Azerrat. I'm from Argentina. I live in a beautiful city, Bariloche. I'm here in Kassel, near here in Kassel, with a 3-month scholarship in the Center of Latin American Studies. And the title of this, I'm going to read. The title of this work is Rethinking Agricultural Activity, Environmental Values in Argentina Agricultural Activity. I prepared this presentation last night, so take patience. It's part of the PhD thesis in political science that I'm writing. In this presentation, you will observe photographs of agroecological producers in Argentina that I have taken in my research work. Also, I'm going to be extremely synthetic, and I'm going to read to be able to respect the time. To begin, the obvious question is why Argentina is important or relevant. Well, I can say that it's important because in 2021, Argentina was the first world exporter of soy behind the United States and Brazil, the second of corn behind the United States, and the third in sunflowers behind Russia and Ukraine, and the 7th in wheat, the second in America behind the United States. Argentina is a big player in the world trade in agricultural commodities. At the same time, this model has generates high profits for the majority of Pampa farmers, and the most of them apply this model, agro-industrial model. So, why are there Pampa farmers who choose agroecology? They are crazy. No. And since agroecological farmers exist and grow, why do Pampa farmers from the same region with the same socio-cultural trajectories and common identities choose opposing decisions in relation to the environment? In Argentina, as in other parts of Latin America, for example, Brazil and Uruguay, we can find two agroecological subjects, two or three, but two big groups. The Pampa farmers who have owned their own land a century ago as a product of European immigration in the 19th century, they had capital and have a common socio-cultural trajectory within the Pampa region. In general, they work in big extensions of land. By no means do these characteristics make them rich people. On the other hand, we have the small producer, as you said, with the peasantry. In general, they do not have their own land or capital and are located mainly in urban horticultural productions. But this is not exclusive, the last characteristic. I'm going to focus in the first of one. Here is a location of the Pampa region, Latin America, Argentina, the Pampas. It is one of the regions with the most fertile soil on the planet. So, the argument of a very short for this presentation argument is the agricultural producers who implement different production models reflect the conflict of values regarding environmental sustainability in agricultural activity. If we talk about conflicts of environmental values, also we talk about the conflict of ethics about environmental sustainability. My argument is that to understand how the ethical conflict in relation to the environment operates, it is necessary to understand what the environmental values of these workers or farmers and these farmers are, and how they differ from their relationship with the environment. identifies two possible relationships with the environment, instrumental or resonance. Resonance is a concept of Armut Rosa. For the instrumental relationship, environmental values operate as means to achieve ends linked to the environment or foreign to it. For the resonance relationship, a concept of Armut Rosa, the environmental values work as a valued horizon for action linked to the environment. This horizon of values shapes the be there, el estar ahí in Spanish, of each subject and as a subjective and intersubjective level by, in, and with the environment. So I use the critical theory and the micro fundamentals of the social theory to analyze this situation. I use a mixed methodology. On one hand, I have made a questionnaire of 35 questions that measure from a scale of 0, strongly disagree, to 10, strongly agree, the different opinions of chacareros and chacareras. Then, with the answer I got, I built a principal component analysis. This allowed me to identify two groups of farmers who positioned themselves according to their responses in the way showed that image. These are provisional results. I'm doing this. Then I conducted semi-structured interviews with agroecological and agro-industrial farmers. I traveled at least 3,000 kilometers within the Pampa region with my old car. Finally, I'm doing an intensive analysis of representative cases for the different possibility of variation of the dependent variable, in my case, environmental values. So, finally, some approximations or conclusions in a question. First, it is important to understand the communicative dimension of the chacareros and chacareras, to understand the action and the formation of environmental values. Second, we can observe two large groups with markedly different environmental values, but at the same time, these groups are heterogeneous within. This trend is observed to a greater extent in conventional producers or agro-industrial producers or farmers. This allows inducing that this perception or values are not linear or homogeneous, but that they vary in such a way that is relevant to understand why and how this variation is. The poor forms of instrumental or resonance relationship not exist. So we need to explain the distinct forms. First, there are cases where conventional chacareros and chacareras value the environment in the same way as agroecological farmers. So why don't they change? Open question. Finally, what happened with the dimensions such as gender? Women chacareras, under situation of inequality and historical exclusion, for example, we need to explain and understand the re-empowerment of rural women with agroecology. So, thank you.
My question is quite simple. Why aren't you using the concept of campesino? Because this is a quite political identity.
Well, I have a short answer and a large answer. The large answer maybe later.
Okay.
But for me, these subjects are not the same. No, they have a different historical and trajectory in the past, the migration, maybe not the ideas, but they are not the same. they have a lot of different characteristics. I think that this is more, we know that a patience. The farmer is another subject. Maybe we can think the farmer, the Pampa farmer, like the Pampas in the farmer in the United States. It's not the same, but maybe we can connect with that. Brazil, the same situation. I think it's not the. I don't think that the MST, Movimientos Sin Tierra, are the same of the agroecological farmers. But it's the short question. Response. She is L, and not the name. She is married with another woman, and she's like a boss in her field, and she's da órdenes, gives orders to 10 men. You do this. For she's agroecological woman. In the agri-industrial model, that situation is not impossible, but it's very, very difficult. For one hand, on the other hand, in Argentina, I don't know other countries, but in Argentina, the women are excluded for our land, the property, the herencia. Like you are married with another farmer, well, you have your and the family land you no corresponds. So all that and situation of very patriarchal situation in the fields is very common. So with the agroecology, a lot of women came back to the rural activity to make agroecology and to fight for our land, the family land, and only examples.